Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm so pleased to be joined by Sean Miller and Alessandro Bertolazzi, the hair and makeup team behind Joe Wright's new musical, Cyrano. It's a great film. So excited to talk to both of you. I know this is, for each of you, this is your first project with Joe. I guess, can you talk about how you got involved and, like what his pitch to you was for this?
Me? Okay, so I got a call from my agent to say that Joe was looking for a hair designer and that Alessandro was already on board as the makeup designer. It came out of nowhere. I was on another production and of course I fell over and thought, what a great opportunity. I'm a big fan of his films, and of course I know and I knew who Alessandro Bertolazzi is. And I was and I was very excited at the prospect, and I went to meet with him, and at the end of my meeting he said, so do you fancy coming to Sicily? And that was it.
pretty great. Alessandro, how about you? You're already involved. Had you talked to Joe before?
I have a good memories about Joe Wright because I was in Los Angeles when they do the premiere for the Academy for The Darkest Hour. I was so impressed about the speech of Joe, on stage, talking about love, about everything. Then we have the opportunity to work with him. I really grab with my nails more possible because I want to do it. And especially because I want to do something with Joe about his incredible knowledge about immense visual perspective, and everything was amazing. And also because it's a movie about 18th century. 18th century one is the period most used in the movies, use and even abuse. This is the reason I think it was a great opportunity to do something really good.
I think that. So I mean, like you mentioned that 18th century, obviously, like not a untapped time period, right? Like obviously a lot of projects have like been set there, and also just like Cyrano itself is been adapted many times in many different ways. I guess, where did you each come in when you started with the hair and the makeup, and like how you wanted to look to maybe be unique in the way it is? Because I do find it real, the look, and especially like for all the principals, it's like really unique looks, but not like overbearing, and not maybe what I would expect, not what I expected, but in a good way. So I guess, can you talk about like how you came through your process and like how you wanted it to look?
Can I say first, because before I forget the answer? Sorry, Sean. Can I be first before I forget the answer? We want to do something real, but not real like iconographic, not what's represented. We make a research, like everyone do it in a art gallery, but what is represented in the table, in the painting, is not the reality. It's like a fake reality because everyone was really much different. And we want to achieve the reality about this incredible period full of people with a skin disease. They have a skin disease because they use as a color, as a makeup stuff, the same color the painting using for the painter used for the painting. And this was really poison, was created smallpox, and they invented the bute marks to cover the scar. So when you go to the painter to ask to make a portrait, you don't want to show like a monster, like a gargoyles, and they do something like aesthetical research to make you much better and glossy. So we won't do something glossy, we want to do something real, but we keep the core about the leading actor, like in a representation as the audience wants. So something different, something not different, something more close to your imaginary about you thinking about the period. But and then they've been surrounded about all this kind of, can I say monster, probably is too much, but real. That was, but highly has to be like how you think is Roxanne is. You don't want to put a scar in the face of Roxanne because it doesn't sound right. It's like a poetic license, and we keep this way two different words, like a box in a box. I was clear.
Yeah, that was great. I love that, hearing that. Sean, how about you?
Yeah, absolutely. It was very important that with all of our research, that, as Alessandro said, we look beyond the kind of the glossy surface. And also Joe was very insistent that, and it's something that I really agree with anyway, that we kind of played a bit loose with the period, that we weren't particularly pinned down into that very chocolate box kind of image we're sometimes accustomed to seeing, so that we could be quite free and cherry pick a kind of a broader period, and then also give those looks our own interpretation, our own spin, if you like. And particularly with Roxanne, because the characterization is, she's such a modern woman. It was very important that there was that freedom in, certainly with her hair, you know, Alessandro's talked about her makeup, so that she was very representative and very accessible, but also with a ring to the period as well. So we approached all of the characters, you know, with their own unique kind of take on from the story, and proceeded from there. So it's got a kind of quite a raw, sort of real, hairy feel about it.
Yeah, I did really enjoy that.
Sorry, Christopher, I want to add something. For example, we shoot the main scene of the theater 3 weeks, and we shoot all night. Then I really ask all the team, don't make any touch up. Leave the makeup and the hair, of course, Sean said the same, like decay, like destruction, like see what's happened, what is melting up, because that people come from home with do the makeup like that himself. They don't have a makeup artist. This is the reason we have to find to achieve the reality. It's something, not reality. I don't want to see, I don't want to use real, because real is something wrong, believable. Because when you try to do something real, sometimes become iconographic. But if you be believable, it become magic, and everything become linked together, and all character become organic, alive, and you believe. You see the movie with this combination is incredible about music, about production designers, costume, everything is perfect. It's difficult to achieve something like chemistry so good and so connected. I think COVID helps. This is weird to say that, because we have all prisoners in the same building and we have to stay all together. So we mix everyone, all department was all together, happy to be there to do this magic project.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
I think Alessandro's right. And I think COVID in some ways prevented us to a degree from the tendency to over fuss as well. And I think when we had all our teams, and particularly in the theatre with everybody, and the men with the wigs, whether they were the long full bottom wigs and the tiebacks, you know, we wanted them to, as Alessandro said, to decay, to look like hats, something that was very used, just taken on and put back on, taken off and on. And that was very important that we kind of kept that going throughout that whole period and didn't over fuss things, because of course it wasn't about creating a perfection.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why I think I just love that about the film. I think it does feel very lived in and like very authentic in that regard. Like you said, like not like Alessandro was saying, you know, not like beyond unbelievable, like very, very realistic. I want to ask you, Sian, about for Peter playing Cyrano. I feel like I've seen him with so many different hair looks, and like obviously he's got such he can grow a great beard, and he still does. I guess, how did you guys decide on how you wanted him to look from like his hair and his facial hair? Because it's like a perfect look for Cyrano, and I was like yet surprised by it again, because like I've seen him in so many different looks. So how did you decide how you wanted him to look, I guess?
I think with Peter's hair, it was very important to make him look youthful and boyish. We wanted to kind of bring together there is a bit more of an age gap than perhaps the story tells between Hayley and Peter. And so to give him something that flattered him was very important. So I think a shorter cut was definitely the way to go, but also to have something that was kind of a bit hacked and undercut and very free and disregarded by him. He's not a vain man. Obviously the way his height is his Achilles, he thinks, and the way, you know, his stature is, he thinks that's the problem between ever finding love with Roxanne. But that's the way I went with that. It's just something really that would really flatter him and look quite boyish. Was the idea. Yeah.
And for Alessandro, how about the makeup on Peter and Cyrano?
Yeah, we know we have a Cyrano in the city, and then we Cyrano in the war. In the war is quite easy. It's easy makeup of war, the dirtiness, fatigue, and everything. And then the end scene. The end scene is something really important because it's closed the movie. And then he's past like 4 years or something like that. He's not really aging, but he's sick because we know he died. And then we want to show him like a dead guy walking. It has to be kind of romantic. Even the scar in the face is something quite beauty. And also the beard. We had the beard handlaid just for make more. This is help for the aging. Not all the rest. We don't want to make a monster. We've been really careful. We don't use any kind of prosthetic, just makeup to give this kind of sensibility. And even the shot is in the church with this a lot of light. So we play a lot with the light, with amazing light from Seamus. And then the reason, even Roxanne is aging. It just changed the tone of color. We get lower with the red.
Yeah.
That's it. When we remove the red from the face, and Cyrano doesn't have any red, it's become grayish, greenish. This is enough for, say, the sickness of the skin.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, and I think it comes across again like really well. You got Alessandro, you mentioned before like how you got hearing Joe Wright talk about the Darkest Hour and stuff. Obviously, the makeup in that film was incredible. Like when you getting to work with him, I mean, what was that like? Like, what was his feedback like for you? And like, how did that relationship like evolve, I guess?
Sean?
I found the relationship with Joe fantastic. I think with all the creatives that work with him, there's definitely he's a great collaborator, and he's very open to ideas and problem solving, because of course it's a working title film. It was a low budget film, so it was very good. It was a very easy process, I found, to talk to him and to work through ideas. He's incredibly collaborative and really inspired by so many things. So it was great to take our ideas to the table and have a really great conversation about them and develop them. So it was incredibly exciting. It's one of the most exciting directors I worked with in that respect, because I really felt like it was a very fluid process. Yeah, it's really super enjoyable.
Yeah, my feeling is I will make an example. It looks like the director give you a beautiful car, shiny, beautiful car to drive, and he look at you. Let's see how it's driving. If you make some mistake, you get out from the car for sure. This is Joe. This is Joe. But if you drive well, he let you drive. I was clear, right?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. That's really
exactly like that. But it's easy. You have to be careful. Even the parking or some difficult turnover, you have to be careful because you get out for the car in a second.
That's true.
Sean, well, let me ask you, Sean. Like you mentioned, like going, like I mean, obviously, like you said, like lower budget film. Obviously, all the challenges with COVID and stuff. I guess, like what was something where you were like, we have to like, what was a big challenge for you that you had to like either get him on board with, or like that you kind of like were trying to problem solve, I guess?
I think the two biggest challenges were, I think, first the theatre scene, because of the numbers involved, and Alessandro and I wanted to create a very clear kind of social structure there. We've got the aristocracy, the bourgeois, the proletariat, or the peasants, which are the term. And in order to try and achieve that, and again with the soldiers, with the sheer numbers, so we just did a lot of problem solving about how to create something, certainly from the hair point of view, because the hire of the stock is expensive, and also it's such a shame when people don't have the money and you see sort of maybe stock pro acrylic wigs, for example, that aren't really aren't camera ready, which don't really suit. And it was a choice to actually, rather than do that and present that to camera, was actually, let's not do that and let's try and work it another way so that we can accommodate this and give something that's really evocative of the period and for the story, but without it looking without it looking bad. So that was a challenge with the numbers.
Alessandro, how about you? What was a big challenge for you on the makeup front?
Oh, every movie has its own stories, has its own challenges, completely different. You don't arrive in a project to say, oh, let's do it now, I know exactly. You're completely blind and blank. You don't know what's going on. But this is the best part. This is challenging. Oh my God, we're gonna die. We're gonna get fired. Every morning I say, I'm still in the project, thank God. At the end of the day, oh my God, I'm still in the project, thank God. If you don't reach this limit, this line, it becomes boring. You go to work to the supermarket to beep, beep. Exactly, this does not make any difference. But you want to keep doing a movie and you want to enjoy, you have to be, and sometimes put something difficult, because I have a problem. Sometimes I'm gonna go to the director of the show and say, hey, look at that. What do you think? It's good, right? He say, oh yeah, this is nice. And I say, and I'm not happy about that. I say, can be an elephant. Oh, this is a good idea. And then after I turn, I say, what I say that? I say that because I can't quit to say something, make me create problem to make more fun and enjoy. Yeah,
no, that's great. I mean, and I think the work on this is obviously incredible. You guys, it's one of the 10 films that made the Oscar shortlist for best hair and makeup. So that's incredible. Congratulations. I guess when you guys found out of like this year, I feel like this year especially, there was a lot of really great examples of hair and makeup in these films. It's like a pretty strong year. I mean, was it, you know, I guess obviously long way to get an Oscar nomination, but I mean, was that encouraging? Alessandro, I know you've obviously won an Oscar. Was it encouraging, or like was it pleasing for you to be on the short list? I'd imagine it was.
Yeah, it was exactly like that. Imagine, I don't want to say please cut and delete this part, cut and delete. But one day I talk with the crowd and I say, listen, I want this movie become an example for the future. This is strong, huh? This is really strong, but make the sense we want to achieve. We want to achieve the top of the mountain. We want to make the crowd people proud. I keep receiving big phone call from the crowd to say, we are so happy about this job. We did exactly what you're talking about. In that case, it's not presumption. It's just to do something incredible, exceptional.
Yeah.
Who deserve it? This project is a rare opportunity.
Yeah. And Sean, how about you?
Yeah, I think Alessandro's right, and touching on what he said earlier on, the fact that I think there's such a symbiotic relationship in this film between costume, production design, and hair and makeup. It really does marry together so wonderfully. And I think, and then of course with Seamus's fantastic cinematography, Joe's direction, the performances, I think it's certainly when you watch it, it feels like something that really is woven. And then with the score, it's really just so inextricably linked together that I feel you can't see the joins. And I think just to create something like that perhaps hopefully might have some kind of legacy one day would be wonderful. And yeah, it was extremely exciting to see the finished film.
Yeah. It's a great film, and I think you guys have both done a ton of amazing work in your careers. If people watching this or click over to IMDb, you'll see the many films that are classics. Sean, including this year, you had a few as well. I think Eternals, right, and French Dispatch as well. So incredible! Thank you so much for doing this, Sean Miller and Alessandro Bertolazzi. The hair makeup team from Cyrano. Joe Wright's new film is out later in January in a limited release before it comes to theaters widely in February. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.